Hi, ladies and gents. We've been talking about moles, and moles are an amount of substance, and we use these in chemistry to count numbers of atoms and molecules we have in a sample, and we can do that if we know the amount of mass we have. And mass is pretty easy to find in any sort of a laboratory because we have balances. Now, what we have learned so far is that on the periodic table, we know the atomic mass of individual atoms. We can find molecular masses by adding masses of individual atoms together to find the mass of a molecule. And we know that a mole of anything contains Avogadro's number, 6.022 times 10 to the 23 pieces. We've also spent a lot of time converting units, feet to meters, meters to inches, etc. And we're going to put all of this together to allow us to convert between moles, masses, and numbers of atoms. Now, the technique we're going to use is this. I love steps. I can follow steps in my little pea brain. It works for me. So this is the technique that I am going to follow. I'm going to ask you to start, after you read the problem, by writing down three equalities. If you need to find a molecular mass or a molar mass for something, then we will. And if we won't do that. Then you're going to circle the two things you're going to convert between, and then put the necessary conversion factors into a TIE fighter, like we've done many, many times before. But we're going to use our fabulous periodic table like one massive conversion chart, because that's what it is. This is like the most spiffy, fabulous conversion chart you ever saw, and we are now going to use it as such. So grab your calculator, put on your thinking caps, and here goes. Here's the question. How many atoms are in 0.457 grams of zinc? Okay, what do we do? First thing I'm going to ask you to do is write three equalities. And these are the three equalities I'm going to ask you to write. I want you to remember that 1 mole of anything, and this time we're talking about zinc, 1 mole of zinc is equivalent to its mass on the periodic table. So this is going to be 65.41 grams, and I'm rounding off to 2 points past the decimal. 1 mole of anything also contains Avogadro's number worth of pieces, 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd. We're talking about an element, so this time we're talking about atoms. Now we're going to convert between grams and atoms. And the next thing I'm going to ask you to do is circle the two things you're converting between. Well, I want to convert between grams and atoms. This is my number in grams, and this is my number in atoms. So these are the two parts of this whole statement that I'm going to use as my conversion factor. I'm going to set up my TIE fighter, set up my conversion like we've done many times before. I have 0.457 grams, my nice straight line. I want to end up with atoms. Draw my TIE fighter. I want to get rid of grams, so where do I put them? Top or bottom? I'm going to put them on the bottoms, because anything I want to get rid of, I need one on top and one on the bottom. I want to keep atoms on top, so I put those on top. And then I use this to tell me what numbers to put in. Well, 65.41 grams of zinc contain 6.022 times 10 to the 23 atoms. And when I put that in my calculator, I ended up with 4.14 times 10 to the 21st atoms. Now, I really encourage you to hit pause periodically, go through the math. Please make sure you know how to get the numbers into and out of your calculator. If scientific notation, putting these big numbers, especially Avogadro's number, into your calculator and getting the number correctly out again is bamboozling you, if you do not get what I get, then this next needs to get fixed. Try a couple different techniques, Try Googling how to put scientific notation in your kind of calculator. Every calculator is a little bit different, and it's a keystroke problem. You may understand how to do the science, which is this, but if you don't know how to work your calculator, you will not do well on quizzes and tests. So you have to be able to fix that. And it may not be the second, but make sure you figure out how to work your calculator. Let's do another one. How many moles are in 230 grams of tin? So once again, I want to remind myself that 1 mole of tin, Sn is that atomic symbol for tin, contains how many grams? Well, here's tin. Its atomic mass is 118.71 grams, and 1 mole of anything is 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd. We're talking about an element, so atoms. I am going to start with 230 grams. That dot indicates I have 3 sig figs, and I'm converting to moles. I'm going from grams to moles, so up here, what 2 things am I going to circle? Well, 1 mole is that many grams. I'm going to get rid of grams, keep moles. 1 mole is 118.71 grams. Grams will cancel grams. 230 divided by 118.71. When I do the math, I end up with 1.94 moles. Not too bad? Okie dokie. Try this one. Give it a shot, and then we're going to do it together. Okie dokie. I said that a lot. Sorry. I'm getting repetitive. 2.7 moles of copper. What is the mass? So 1 mole of copper is 63.55 grams. 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd atoms. I've got 2.7 moles. I want to end up with grams. So grams to moles, so I'm going to use this bit and that bit. Get rid of moles. Go to grams. 1 mole is 63.55 grams. That cancels that. Multiply. When I did this, I ended up with 171.59 grams. Now, I can hear a couple of you yelling at me from cyberspace, and you're saying, Mary, I am very clever. Do I have to write this down if I know that 1 mole of copper weighs this? Do I have to do this step? And the answer is no. If you're really, really clever and you can just know that, good for you. You don't have to write that down. But I've been teaching this stuff for a lot of years, and many students need this step. So if you are superior and you don't need that step, don't do that step. But I'm going to keep doing that step. So you just do what you need to do to be successful. Try one more. Okay, I've got this many atoms, and I'm talking about cadmium. So 1 mole of cadmium. What's my atomic mass of cadmium? 112.41 grams. Contains Avogadro's number of molecules. I'm also trying to really stick this in your brain that 1 mole of anything is that many atoms. Okay, so I've got 5.09 times 10 to the 24th atoms, and I want to know moles. So I am going to get rid of atoms, keep moles. I'm going to convert from atoms to moles. There's going to be 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd atoms per 1 mole of cadmium. Atoms cancel atoms. When I did the math, I got 8.45 moles. And as I said earlier, if you're having a challenge, if you set this up perfectly, and you can't get this number out of your calculator, please take a moment, look up online how to use scientific notation on your calculator, and make sure you get that figured out, because having the science right but having the button pushing wrong is going to be hazardous to your quiz scores. So make sure you figure that part out. That will do it for this time. We're going to come back, and next time we're going to do some problems that are going to stretch you just a smidge further.